Good evening, American dream makers. How are you today? It is a wonderful day here in Prescott, Arizona, and it is a fantastic evening to have a fantastic guest on the American Dream Maker show. So I'm going to play an intro video and we will get him right on so that you can find out all about Derrick Green. So here we go. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right. How are you?
I'm blessed, absolutely blessed and abundant.
Awesome.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. I like that red shirt on you.
Thank you. I
That looks
appreciate
very
you.
nice. Has it snowed up there in Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska?
It is actually snowing outside right now. We've had about 8 inches that dropped this morning, and there's a little flurries going outside right now. So we have some fresh powder on the ground.
Ooh, very nice. So are the kids like excited and then playing in the snow and all that good stuff?
Oh, they will be when they get out of school because as I plowed the driveway, I built this snow hill in the front yard, and I bought new sleds, so they're going to get to sled down that hill. They're going to be excited.
That's awesome. So we got Wayne Woods. Good evening. Welcome, Wayne. Good to see you.
Wayne, good evening, brother.
So, and then we've got also Waffles and Whatnot says there's teacher appreciation link here. So that's great that you've got this into the chat. So that's fantastic. Let's make sure we, get people to help out with Teacher Appreciation Week. Derrick, you are an amazing fella. I know we've gotten to know each other quite a bit over the last, just since March, really. But it feels like I've known you a lifetime.
I know, right?
How does that happen? So, somebody says it's sunny 70 degrees in San Diego. Oh, is this Yessie? Yessie, if this is you, let us know. It's because it says Facebook user. Or you can go to streamyard.com/Facebook, and then we can see your name too when you, and then somebody else is saying, hey. So StreamYard will give you permission to share your name if you go to StreamYard. And she says, Yessie. Yes, Yessie. Awesome. So glad you're here, Yessie. So Derrick, you've got, since I met you in March, like I said, it feels like it's a lifetime. It's probably because there's been so much going on in your life. So why don't you take us back a little bit and tell us about Derrick L. Green?
It's actually amazing since the last time we spoke. This year, 2023, has been an incredibly transformative year for me. I was absolutely blessed last year to have these folks, these chefs that came into my restaurant, and we ended up partnering up. And turns out that one of those chefs, actually, is both of them, is their life dream. I essentially had already built this dream that they had been working on for the longest time and didn't know how to actually execute these different things. And it allowed them to just step into it. And by them stepping into it, it freed up my time. And an accounting mistake put me on a journey. I had no idea how this year would happen, just completely living in the unknown, as Joe Dispenza says. But because of an accounting mistake, it put me on this journey where I met people like Marvin Mitchell and Myron Golden, and I met you, went through Israel Duran, and then met Tim Story and Gloria Mayfield Banks. And it's just been this continual transformative journey for me, where this year I fully was able to embrace Stephen Covey's, if you've ever heard of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he has another book called The 8th Habit. And that 8th habit is find your voice and help others find theirs. And that's the journey that I find myself on. So for you and I connecting the way that we're connected now, Zena, it's an amazing thing. and you're a part of that. I'm happy to be on this journey with you as well.
It's been a fun journey, that is for sure, and it's been really exciting to see you, um, just really metamorphose into, who you are. You were a great fellow when I met you in March, so just so that everybody knows, Derrick was already a man of character and just so full of joy and happiness. Like, he always just had a smile on his face when my husband and I met him, and so for me to say that watching the metamorphosis, it's not like you went from this horrible guy to this fantastic guy. You already were, but this is like, well, I'm going to use the word. This is the amplified version of Derrick Green.
There you go. And I definitely feel elevated. See, I'm throwing a word out there too. And I'll tell you what, let me just tie that right into a sentence. I feel elevated because I engaged my internal self. I allowed or I empowered myself to step into my own greatness and to finally own that, to finally embrace who I am, who I've felt that I've been this entire time, and stepped outside of the boxes that I've lived in, whether that's, being a soldier, whether that's being a entrepreneur, whether that's being a restaurateur, whatever that box has been, and it's just live outside the box and embrace what it is I feel that I'm actually here to do, which is to, now that I've found my voice, use that to help other people change their life and to step into their greatness.
Oh, that is awesome. And I know you mentioned, your service. You 21 years in the military, correct?
Yes.
As so you did a full career in the military and you have done a lot even in that 21 years. Seen a lot.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
prior to that, you had quite a life. There's a like your life is definitely. I'm excited because one day there's going to be a book about Derrick Green, and people are going to be very interested in reading about your story. But give us a little glimpse about what life was like for Derrick Green. Little tidbit of what it was like for you, and then you went into the military, and then where you are today.
So prior to joining the military, well, let me start in the military. In the military, I was assisting a soldier that was suicidal, and I was escorting them back to this town in Alaska called Bethel. And while there were these mental health folks that had set up a booth, and they introduced me to this concept called ACEs, or this study that was called ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences Study, which I had never heard of. And I did this little on the spot test. And the original study had 10 childhood adversities that, if a person had faced any of these adversities, it would have an adverse impact on their life. Sorry about that. It would impact their life. And so, um, looking at that original 10, I realized that I had all 10. And I jokingly said, I handed the pamphlet back to him and said, well, I took your test and I passed it and I have extra credit. And their faces were just like, what? You got all 10 out of 10? And I'm like, yes. And this is when you started learning things like, hey, anybody that has suffered through some of these traumas, things like childhood witnessing substance abuse, witnessing violence against your mother, childhood neglect, abuse, physical neglect, these type traumas, childhood sexual trauma. Um, People started developing things like, they scientifically proved the correlation between those traumas and things like comorbidities like diabetes, cancers, depression, promiscuity, all different types of life issues. And as I looked at all of these different things, I was looking and going, well, holy crap, I'd better learn more about this to understand what's happening, because this shows that I could decrease my lifespan 4 to 12 fold because of these things that I've been through. And then I discovered that they had extended that study and added an additional 8. And out of the 18 childhood traumas that they've identified, I endured 17 of them in multiples. The only one that I missed was being raised in foster care. That put me on this amazing journey of self discovery, the discovery of toxic stress, which is one of those factors that causes all of these comorbidities in your body, toxic stress. And then it put me on this path of learning how to heal the body, because the body has the power to heal itself. And in doing that, it has just been an amazing experience. And I learned that all of those things that I endured in the 17 years before I joined the military as I was in the service as a sexual assault victim advocate and a domestic violence victim advocate and a suicide interventionist, I'll be talking with folks, and I understand that everybody that I was talking to came from an adverse background in the military. I've never met anyone in the military that came from like a golden spoon family. Pardon me. We all came from these adverse backgrounds. And so, if I were going to be truly effective as a leader, at the time I was a senior leader, I'm going to be truly effective in that role, or if I'm going to be truly effective as a military policeman responding to someone in crisis, or I'm going to be truly effective as an advocate in any one of those various roles that I was performing at the time, I needed to learn more about this so that I wasn't just arriving on scene and applying a band-aid. I was helping people discover something that they may have never heard of themselves, and then helping put them on a path to get their life in check, or to bring their life in balance. And so I've been talking too long. I'm sorry. You didn't ask for all that.
No, I think that's great that you're sharing all that because that really gives us a glimpse into this journey that you've been walking because it's been obviously a lifetime journey. And yes, I know you mentioned this last year, there was a accounting mistake that propelled you into going to investing in yourself, in your company, which, by the way, Derrick L. Green is the founder of Waffles and Whatnot. And if you have not been up to Anchorage, Alaska to try his waffles out, you guys, you need to go. Although I did not get to go, I am going to go to Anchorage to have it. I was privileged to have waffles not in Anchorage, but I'm going to put it out there for the world. You guys need to go to Anchorage because the waffles are to die for. Like they were the best waffles I've ever tasted, and I have been craving it ever since. So Chris and I really do need to make a trip up to Anchorage, Alaska. Although we probably need to wait till things thaw out a little bit out there. But
Either that or find a franchisee where you are in Prescott.
oh, there you go. Yes. Yes. And that is absolutely, for sure an option. You guys, for sure, if you are looking at franchising something, Waffles and Whatnot would be it because you need to look that up because it is phenomenal. The recipes that you came up with. So I love that you tell us all about that because like I said, it's been quite a journey for you. And also give us a little tidbit about how you ended up making these waffles, these to die for waffles. Like it was quite a process and quite a story as well.
It is a process and a story. So the thing with the waffles is I was previously married, and my wife had, hey Mitch.
Hi,
So
Mitch.
Mitch is awesome. My wife had cancer at the time, and I would sit in these chemo lounges, these oncology chemotherapy lounges, and I would just watch these women suffer. And for my wife, the third day after her chemo treatment was always the worst because she couldn't hold any food down, and she would have these spells of dry heaving, and I felt so incredibly just horrible for her. I felt like I wasn't providing service for her as a husband, as a caregiver, as a friend. And I spent 6 years as a cancer caregiver. What I did was I decided to completely change the way that we eat. I had to anyway, because any of the foods that she loved prior to, now when she tasted them, they made her nauseous. So I had to completely reinvent the way that we ate. And I developed these pancake recipes that were BRAT compliant, bananas, rice, apples, and toast. And later, my mom also had cancer, and my mom had HIV, which turned into AIDS because my mom was no longer able to take the medication that kept the HIV at bay because of the pesticides that were in the foods, the pesticides that were now in her body from ingesting these foods her entire life. What I did was I took that pancake recipe years later and decided to turn it into a waffle recipe. And standing on a sidewalk in downtown Anchorage, Alaska, I started trying to sell these waffles to people, and nobody wanted to eat them. And it's like, no, 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 no. And they would come up with all these excuses of like, oh, I'm gluten free, or no, I can't have dairy, or I can't have eggs. So I eventually modified that recipe until I came up with something called a cardboard waffle. But not just a cardboard waffle. I went to the store and bought every single waffle mix that was on the shelf, every one of them, Zena. Brought them home, and I tortured my poor family, my poor kids. and I made him eat all these waffles. And as I was doing that, I started developing, like messing with my own recipe and tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it until I could beat every waffle that was in the store, and then until I could beat my waffle. And this is actually how I got started on this Facebook journey. Was I went back to that sidewalk and I would have people try the waffles, and instead of charging them for it, I would say, just try the waffle and let me record your reaction to biting it. And this is before I had a name. So I was getting authentic reactions from people. And you can still find these videos on YouTube of people trying the waffle for the first time and going like, "Oh my God." And I knew I had something, and it was amazing. Over the years, that has morphed into various things. For instance, my mom with her condition, looking at her taking all of these pills that she had to take and realizing how much she hated taking these pills, I figured out from her little tackle box of pills what I could replace with spices and food. And in doing that, I came up with what is now called the badass yardbird, or the baby. It is the signature breading, chicken breading, that's served in the restaurant. And what a lot of people may not know, or the public may not know, when they come in and they're trying this chicken and they're trying the waffles and they're trying the macaroni and cheese and the sauce that goes on the side, is that that combination of three strips of chicken and that waffle, the apple cinnamon waffle, when served on that plate, and that sauce that the chicken gets dipped in, is the right amount of protein that my mom needed on a daily basis, which would allow her, to have a couple days out of the week where she could skip taking all of those pills. It was the right amount of certain supplements that she needed. I put in the right amount of curcumin, the active ingredient in turmeric, and put it in a form that she could actually ingest it and her body could ingest it. So people don't realize the thought that has gone behind the food and the menu development of Waffles and Whatnot. And I'm okay with that. I just want them to come in and say it's the best food they've eaten.
And it is. And hi, Marlene. It's so good to see you on here as well. It is a great. I mean, so when you talk about all those ingredients that you put in there, like most people be like, "Oh, that doesn't sound very appetizing." But seriously, Derrick, like you really have crafted some very tasty food that is much healthier for you than what is out there. And so I'm serious when I tell the viewers, you absolutely need to go to Anchorage, Alaska, and taste Waffles and Whatnot, and then you need to tell your friends and or yourself to go ahead and franchise Waffles and Whatnot and have it throughout all 50 states, because that's how good it is. It's like, and maybe even nationwide, because not nationwide, but even worldwide. It should be like a McDonald's everywhere. Why not?
I agree.
Kind of,
I
yeah,
agree.
why not? So, so I am just so proud of you, Derrick, because you are always moving and shaking, and you're very creative. And so this leads up to the next question, and the next project and thing that you are involved in coming up that is so exciting. But before, Wayne Wood says healthy food never tasted so good. That is very true. And then need it in Colorado, Mitch says. Yes, Mitch, you need to find somebody to bring it to Colorado, Mitch. And hi, John. So good to see you. We need this guy's info in Texas. Yes, you do. Yeah, for sure, John. John's a great friend, and yeah, absolutely, we need to bring
Okay.
it to Texas.
Yeah.
For sure. But that is only one thing that Derrick does, and that's an amazing thing, and has obviously impacted many lives, because you have been able to seriously create something that tastes good, but yet is so healthy. But it leads me to the next question for you. On this journey that you have come along, you had talked about how you are a man of many ideas
Yes.
all the time, right? And
Yes.
something that I believe one of your superiors in the military said, Derrick, you have a lot of ideas, but you need to pick your pigeon. Tell us
Absolutely.
about what that means.
So I am a creative machine. I am an ideator. I think all the time. My brain does not shut off, or wasn't shutting off until I learned how to meditate. But that's a different story. In that, one of my mentors, one of my greatest mentors, his name is Mike. Shout out to you if you're listening. But he came to me one day and he said, "Man, you're an idea machine. You have all these amazing ideas, and any one of them could change your life and could impact the world. The problem is that all these ideas are like pigeons. And you're looking at this flock of pigeons, and you're a hungry falcon, and you keep going up after the entire flock. And because you're going after the entire flock, you end up missing them all. You have to learn how to pick a pigeon, go up, kill that pigeon, eat, replenish yourself, and then you can go up after the next one." And at the time when he told me that, I didn't understand it, Zena. I didn't have the level of comprehension that I have now and the wisdom to understand the wisdom of his words. And I find that so many people in life operate the way that I was operating. As I'm writing my current book, I went back and I counted because in 2019, I ended up losing my house and my restaurant within 24 hours of each other. And I did this assessment to try to understand how did I do that? Because the restaurant operated that day that we shut down and it was packed. So how do you go from having this very successful restaurant, being invited down to Facebook headquarters to meet Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg and all of these amazing things that were happening in life? How do you go from that to having your house foreclosed and losing your restaurant in that time frame? And I have to tell you that it wasn't until literally this year, although the Pick a Pigeon process is something that I've been going through, as I'm writing the book for Pick a Pigeon, I'm looking at it and I'm going, holy cow, there were 27 distinct jobs that I was performing. So I've fallen into that trap that Michael Gerber, the E Myth, right, the entrepreneurial trap, the entrepreneurial myth. I had fallen into that trap of wearing every hat, trying to do everything, as a bootstrapped upstart. There were 27 distinct jobs that I was performing that you can find on Monster or Indeed. No one, I don't care who you are, no one can operate and function effectively running companies if you're performing 27 different distinct jobs for which someone is receiving a salary for in another company, right? And that ties into what Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy talk about, which is the who, not how. What I found in this whole Pick a Pigeon process is that I had taken on too much. I was trying to do too much, and because of that, I wasn't effective at the things that I was doing, at any one thing that I was doing. Now, what I do is I'm traveling and I'm helping other people avoid those pitfalls and those mistakes that I made. In this whole Waffles and Whatnot process, I've invested personally more than $1.5 million to get Waffles and Whatnot to where it is today. And then there are other people that have invested in this venture as well. Well, for young upstarts and entrepreneurs that are trying to get their business off the ground, they may not have the resources that I had to start with. They may not have the mentors or the angels in their network to be able to support them in the way that I did. And they may not have the physical prowess or bandwidth or stamina or whatever you want to call it to perform all those crazy tasks, and they should not. So the Pick a Pigeon process, thanks for the question, is about helping people to prioritize, to develop an intentional focus so that they understand what it is that they should be doing at the time that they should be doing it. And for those things that they should not be doing, who are the right people for them to go ahead and hire so that they're not performing that task and overexerting themselves,
Hmm.
especially when it comes, though I talked about business, especially when it comes to your life dream, what it is that you feel that you were put on this earth to do. And for those that don't know how or don't know what they were put here to do, I help them find their purpose as well.
Oh, that's great because many of us really do struggle with going throughout our life and wondering what our purpose is.
Yeah.
And you definitely hit on something that I think part of that is that we are so not focused. We're just our minds go here and distracted and we're trying to tackle everything. And so in that it would be hard to find your purpose. So tell us a little bit more. You've got a really exciting event happening in January. And I've got it on the screen here called Amplify Your Life. And it's a women's summit, January 27th. And it is in the Charlotte area. So you guys, there is a QR code. So if you want to register, tell us, Derrick, why? Why are you going to be at a women's summit and delivering your message here?
First, I am incredibly honored to be on that stage. It is a women's summit, and I'm obviously not a woman. So, well, maybe not obviously, it is 2023, but I'm not a woman, right? So, to to be selected and to be allowed to stand on that stage with all of the great speakers that are going to be there is an amazing honor. First and foremost, this journey that I'm on can be summarized or boiled down to one word, which is one of love. I love what I do. I love myself now, and I love helping people fall in love with themselves. For me, and this is not a religious thing, it's a spiritual thing. It is the greatest source that exists that created everything. Call it God, call it the universe, call it whatever you want to call it. Source, the hand that guides all, whatever you want to call that energy. It is love. It is pure love. And now that I've found my voice, the greatest thing that I can do in return for this gift that I was given called life is to help other people find their purposes, right? To help other people find their purpose and to unlock their greatness along their journey. So why I'm going there to be on that stage is because, in my opinion, women are the powerhouses of our society. You guys provide so much support and the backing behind men. Even if a guy is single, he still was birthed by a woman, and his entire existence was shaped by women, whether he wants to admit it or not. It was right, and there's different opinions about it, but I don't care. I'm here to voice what I believe. Because of that, though, I also know that there are a lot of people that feel silenced. There are a lot of women that either have not found their voice or they feel stuck in a situation many times because of financial obligations, because of family obligations, because of what the parents will think, what religion will think, whatever. But that doesn't mean that, living in those realities does not mean that they have to be miserable or die miserable or anything like this. They can still live their purpose. They can find their voice. There's a small voice inside of them that have been talking to them often since they were little girls about what impact they want to have on the world. And though family may have convinced them to become a lawyer or a doctor or an accountant or a nurse or a teacher, if their purpose is to do this thing over here, what I want to do is to amplify that voice inside of them. I want to first help them narrow that down to where they understand this is what I want to do. And then to be able to put that in a format where we can then use this idea machine that I have and the greatness that's inside of them to create action steps and the plan behind those action steps. Because then what you have is something like what I have here in this book, where you can read many great books in your life, but when you write down the book of your life, when you begin this book on the inside, what you want to contribute to the world, what you feel you were put here to do, and then someone helps you put action steps behind each of those tasks. And you can look at that like your journal of life that you can open up every day. What am I going to do today? Or what am I going to do this week? Or what am I going to do this month? Or what is my goal for this year? And you have that in a format where you can check it off or highlight it or whatever is your thing of how you can measure your success in life. You have a roadmap. You have a roadmap to your greatness. I want to help people find their roadmap to their greatness.
Oh, thank you, Derrick, for sharing all of that. And for those of you out there, Christmas is coming around here, and the new year is going to be here before you know it. So, for all the women that are in your life, and if you're a woman yourself, I really encourage you to sign up for Amplify Your Life. And we've got the web page right there, amplifyyourlife.live, also the QR code up top, because it's going to be phenomenal. You need to come and hear Derrick and for him to give you the tools and strategies, which obviously today we don't have enough time to get all that to you. But as you can hear, his passion, his heart is truly to help you. And I love what you said to Derrick before. Actually, I also want to say, if you purchase a ticket today in the next 24 hours and you use Derrick 20 as the coupon code, you get 20% off. So So I'm going to let that kind of roll down there so that as our viewers are watching, they can tell their friends, put it in the chat, let other people know. And but I love what you said about that you value women, that everybody is affected by having a woman in their life, like whether you admit it or not, somehow a woman has shaped your life, and now you want to contribute and give back to women. So ex- expound on that even just a little bit more, because I want to know, I want to get to the heart of why you have such a passion to help women, because not all men feel that way.
My life has been deeply impacted by what I call two mamas and a baby. So I had my grandmother, my dad's mom, and she was my absolute soul. I love that woman. Rest in peace, Barbara Johnson. I absolutely loved my grandmother because my grandmother would have me listen to her. She would talk, we would sit and have conversations, and she always had the utmost respect for me, and I had the utmost respect for her. And as she endured the different things in her life, like having kids that were sitting in prison, when they would write her letters, she would have me read those letters to her. And what it did was open my mind up as a young man to understand that that was something that was a path that I would never want to go down. I would never want to hurt her because as I would listen, like my dad is in prison, my dad has been in prison my entire life, essentially. And as I would read these letters to her, I got to experience her pain. And some people will say that was a vicarious trauma. It was an absolute blessing. It was a blessing because I got to see how your actions impact the people around you, and you don't see the suffering that they have as you're talking your trash or you're just letting whatever fly out of your mouth. You may not see the impact that your words have on people's hearts. I got to experience that, and it turned me into a very empathetic being as a young child. Then there was my mom. Regardless of the various traumas that I suffered at the hands of my mom, I realized that this was a woman that did not have to give birth to me. For whatever reason, she decided to bring me into this world. She didn't have to do that. Right. I could have very easily ended up as a flush down a toilet, or, and I'm appreciative for this life that I've been given. And in that, I got to pull many things from my mom. My mom was a consummate hustler, right? She was always doing something, whether it was crafts, whether it was growing earthworms for people to go fishing, whether she was then taking those earthworms to go catch the fish, fry them up and cook them up and selling fish sandwiches. You name it, my mom was doing something, right? And she was always a community focused person. And I appreciated that. So I take the lessons that she had. And that, in those times where my mom had to work 2 or 3 jobs, I'm telling my age now. I'm an 80s baby, literally 1980. So this is back. I remember when minimum wage was raised to $4.25 an hour, and my mom was excited. The minimum wage was raised to 4.25. It's like, but 4.25. When you go to the gas station and you see gas is 97 cents or $1.50, and you 4.25, and it takes you this many gallons. Started doing the math on these things, and I've always been an intellectual kid, so I start analyzing and looking and going, she's working her butt off. She's packaging fruit, she's doing home health care, she's breaking her back, she's coming home, she's having us massage her feet, massage her hands, and I'm looking at how swollen her ankles are, and all of that while unbeknownst to us, she was suffering with the mental struggles of understanding that she has HIV at a time where HIV and where I come from in Fort Pierce, Florida, was running rampant and killing people. We had a funny name for it called the kicking chicken, because somebody would find or would have HIV, and then they'd be here and they'd be gone.
Mm.
And yet the love that she showed by sticking around, because she could have given up, but she stuck around to take care of us. That was something that was very powerful. That nurturing behavior of the mom. I'm a great dad. I'm an amazing father. You will never hear me say that I have the nurturing that a mother naturally exists or naturally exudes, right? Y'all are built different. Y'all are wired different. I'm built to take care of my family, to be a provider. So it's just a different thing. And then the baby. The baby, I have several babies, but my wife at the time, that had cancer transformed my life. One of the most profound moments of my life. We were married for 14 years total, and it was not all peaches and sunshine. It just was not. And towards the end of her life, we had actually gotten legally separated. I moved out of the house and got an apartment. This is while she's enduring cancer treatment, but I still never missed an appointment. I always went to all of her appointments and tried to be there for her and support and in love as much as I could. The last 3 months of her life, she asked me to come back. She asked me to move back in to take care of her because her mom and dad, she wasn't able to use the bathroom on her own anymore. And her mom and dad couldn't carry her up and down the stairs. That became my job. That was my role anyway. I'm the husband. It's not the dad's responsibility in his elderly years to lift this child. Although you can see, I got to witness, I was blessed, Zena, to witness the pain in the eyes of a mother and father watching their child deteriorate. I had the perspective of being a husband that my wife was 33 years old and in the FBI, this vibrant, young, incredibly intelligent woman. I got to watch her transform into a 90-year-old being. So, from the perspective of a husband, that was heart wrenching. When I came back for those 3 months and I saw the parents watching their child die, and now that I was a father at that time, it hit different. It hit different, and my responsibility as a man, as a provider, as a anything changed. And she changed my life. So we actually began having these conversations in those last 3 months because she only wanted me by her side when she died. That was one of her wishes. And so I essentially spent 3 months locked in a bedroom with her. And I shout out to the military, specifically Colonel K. Spearbud and Colonel Lynette Martinez, for allowing me the flexibility to take care of my wife. I appreciate them, and I want to make sure that the world knows that they're angels. But in taking care of my wife and having those honest conversations, we realized we had never had a real conversation in our life. It was all superficial things. And you in your role, helping couples become powerhouses, understand, from partners to powerhouses, you understand how communication is one of the most critical elements that exists. You have to be able to talk to each other. And unfortunately, we're moving more and more towards a world where we don't know how to connect with each other, and we don't know how to have fierce and authentic conversations, which is actually an aspect of love, if you ask me. If you love that person, you learn to develop that ability to talk. And to sometimes we have to become mirrors for our partners so that they can become aware of the behaviors that they don't know that they're doing or exhibiting. And my wife showed me at that point in my life, I was absolutely a wreck. I was not a great example for my daughter. I was not a great leader as I thought I was. I was not the man that I thought that I had convinced myself I was being. I was not. I needed a absolute dramatic life shift, and she provided me that. So, women in my life, all right, and then I have my daughters. I have three daughters and I have a son. Those three daughters, I mean, my children, I absolutely love my kiddos, right? Love and value the love that they put out there. So, women have helped shape me throughout my existence. And there's so many others. There's my Aunt Deborah, there's my Aunt Teresa, so many women have helped shape me that you will never hear me be the one to degrade women or anything like that. And even in this Waffles and Whatnot journey, when I went to Facebook and they showed me that my audience was 80, I think it was 88% women. And the fact that I've been able to maintain at least 80% women supporters throughout this journey in my business, right? Yes, we do have a lot of men that come here to eat, but it's usually the wife that introduced them first. So, in all aspects of who I am and how I am, women have been influential. So, for me to be able now to give back, to use this voice to give back, or to use this power to give back, I'm 43 years old, and if I'm at the midlife point, then that means I'm going to be 86. What can I do in the next 43 years? How can I take the experience of the first 43 years and turn those life experiences into wisdom, right? Removing the emotion from it and turn that into wisdom, and then take that wisdom and allow that or package that in a way that other people can change their lives for generations to come. That's what I'm aiming at.
That is profound. I mean, just amazing, Derrick. I mean, to hear your story, to hear the journey, and to hear your heart and passion and how it shaped you into the man you are. Because it's not maximize the moments in life. Yeah, for sure. It's not it's not easy, to be a single mom and to raise the kids. And when you describe your mom working so many jobs, and then she gets hit with a diagnosis. And back in the 80s, it was, like you said, people were dying. When they were diagnosed, it wasn't very long before they were gone. Um, and so to see that struggle and to see her just really go through it, I can understand why you ended up having such compassion and empathy for those that struggle with that. And so a lot of women do struggle with worth, self-worth. Am I even worthy of this? And your mom, it sounds like she had a hard time in relationships, so ended up being a single mom. Your dad was in prison. So I really love hearing your heart speak here, and I'm really excited to see how you are going to impact so many women at this Amplify Your Life Women's Summit. And so tell us a little bit about your excitement. I know you said you are excited and you feel very privileged, but really, are you excited to come to North Carolina? I mean, is this something that's been on your list of places to go?
I'm excited. First of all, North Carolina is one of the places that I'm evaluating for when my family leaves Alaska. Will that be where we go? So, yes, in that respect, I'm absolutely excited to go to North Carolina. I've been to North Carolina before. My mom used to live in Bloomington, and I have family in North Carolina. So, I'm excited to go back down there and to be in that environment. Amplify your life. First of all, I don't feel that I'm the best speaker on that stage. There are such talented voices that are going to be there with these very powerful messages. And for me, I want to do everything that I can in support of their success. Many of us are trained and mentored by Tim Story, and I'm excited to stand on that stage for him. I'm excited for him to be able to see us, to see his mentees on that stage, executing the things that he's taught us and coached us through, as well as Coach Michael Burt. But the excitement comes truly from being able to have an impact on someone sitting in that audience. And I don't know who that audience will be. I developed this phrase, this mantra, if you will, from a restaurant where I say, I will feed anyone, but I'm not for everyone. And I understand that. I will speak to anyone, but I'm not for everyone. But someone in that audience, I believe, will resonate with the message that I have coming out of my mouth. And if not me, one of the other speakers. And we are going to absolutely help someone in their journey of transformation as they are becoming who they want to be. And the fact that this is happening in the first month of the year, on the 27th of January, we're helping them set their year off the right way. So everybody has these resolutions that they come up with at the beginning of the year. And we all know that success rates for resolutions are not very high. But for those that choose to go on this journey with us and stay connected with us, and to have that accountability coach, if you will, like Coach Michael Burt always tells us, everybody needs a coach. And he's right. Everybody needs a coach. So here, being on that stage with all these powerful people, if I'm not the flavor of soup that you like, then go with Zena, then go with a Marlena, then go with Tina. Um, you know, Whatever it is, I'm excited to be a part of that. And for this to have been something that was an idea that just morphed and blossomed and now is actually coming to life and is happening and is real. And to see myself on a billboard today, this is the first time in my life I've been, on national TV. I've been exposed to different things, been interviewed by Entrepreneur Magazine and USA Today. I've never been on a billboard. So to see myself today on a billboard is awesome. I'm going to frame that and put it on my wall next to my Guy Fieri plate that he gave me. Put that on the wall. Like, I'm on a billboard. Let's go. I'm on a billboard for making myself available to take this knowledge and experience that I have in the form of love and push that out to this audience. Push that out to these people that are there for a change, that are there to have some inspiration that helps them become who they want to be. Heck yeah, I'm excited for it. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. When Tina sent that picture of the billboard, I was like, "Oh wow, this is getting real."
Yeah.
And you're right; it has sparked a real fire, and I am very excited to come alongside you as well to really offer something to the ladies. And I know that nothing happens by accident. I am a firm believer that there are no accidents in life. That this is a divine appointment at a divine time, and so the women that are going to be attending are just going to be very, very blessed. So again, you guys, I can't emphasize enough. Now's the time. Use Derrick20 coupon code and get your mothers, your wives, your sisters, get them to this event because this is going to be life changing. It's going to be really fundamentally in a way it from the inside out it's going to be changing. And I know you're like, well, how can that be on a one day event? Well, when you see the lineup of the speakers, and because most of us have been trained by Tim Story and Coach Burt, these, if you know who these men are, uh it's going to be dynamic dynamo.
I will challenge you with this. Any person that's questioning how can a one-day event be so transformative? I would ask you this: how can one traffic accident change your life? How can being raped one time be such a transformative event? How can one good hug or one person telling you that they love you or one glance across a cafe where they look at you and wink or smile or something like that change your life? If you can believe in the possibility that a traffic accident can change your life, then don't dismiss the possibility that spending one day with these powerful speakers that are just there to wrap you in love and help you become your best self, don't dismiss the fact that those people can also, or that one day could change your life. That's the way I would frame that.
Very well said, Derrick. You are a man of great and many words, and I am so glad that you have found your voice and excited for the future for you as you get out there and launch. I mean, like I said, it has been a journey walking with you, watching you grow, and becoming the man who you are today. And I'm excited for the man who you're going to be tomorrow and next year and the year after that, because it is, until we take our last breath, that really, really should be our goal, is to continue to grow and learn, change and shift and help other people, so that, because we're all going to leave some sort of legacy in this life,
Yes.
right? And so
Yes.
we got to choose a legacy that we want to leave. And I am so glad to hear your children are being left something really profound that your father wasn't quite able to do. I know he's still alive. Is he still
Yes.
alive, your father?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's so, I mean, he still has time, but I know he wasn't able to give you that. And but yet you're able to turn around and make things different for your children. And I see that. I see that everything you do, it is for your family and it is for the rest of the world. And so it's very exciting. So amplify your life, Women's Summit, amplify your life li- amplify your life dot live. Gosh,
Not
I'm
live, yeah.
yeah. Got a tongue twister here. And you guys, we hope to really see you there. If you've got any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to Derrick or myself. Derrick, how would someone get a hold of you?
So you can visit derricklgreen.com, DERRICK Green, just like the color.com. And you can reach out to me, send me a message. I do mentor and do coach people, but more importantly, right now, what you just hit on, Zena, is this thing of people that are trying to become their best selves and leave a legacy. What better way to leave a legacy than to have your book of life written, identified, and then you have something to measure your success in life by. You have something, a reference to go back to. You have your own personalized book of life. It's better than the memoir. This is what you want to achieve. And now you know when you're saying your prayers, how to put these action steps behind it. So it's not just Jesus take the wheel. It's you've put work behind it to learn how to drive. And now, Lord help me, help guide me, help steer me. And it's more in that respect. So yeah.
Yeah. Very, very, very exciting. I cannot wait till January 27th. I can't wait till Christmas. I'm excited about Christmas too. Don't get me wrong, because that obviously is the upcoming thing. But wow, I am so excited for next year. I'm so jazzed up to see you. And thank you so much for your heart and passion to want to really amplify women's lives and elevate them and engage them and empower them, and so that they can be the best version of who they are called to be, to lead the life that they know, and to embrace the life that God has called them to. It's going to be so exciting. And I love that you said, don't look at it as that it's just a one-day event, that this one-day event can be very life-changing. So we work, drive, steer, action. Yes, very much
Yeah.
so. Thank you so much, viewers, for being on here tonight. We just love it when you guys are on here and interacting. And so we hope to see you at Amplify Your Life in Charlotte, Salisbury, to be more specific, but it is in the Charlotte area, Salisbury, North Carolina, January 27th. It's going to be amazing. And thank you again, Derrick. And we will say goodbye for now, but we will see you very, very soon.
Thank you, Zena. I'm honored. I appreciate it. And thank you for your time. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. And I am excited. So thank you.
All right. We'll see you later. Thank you again, you guys, for being on American Dream Makers. What an amazing evening and interview with Derrick Green. He truly is somebody you will want to get to know. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe to American Dream Makers. We've got more interviews coming up. And, the American dream truly, I believe, belongs to all of us. And not only can we achieve it, but you can actually go beyond. And Derrick L. Green will help you not only achieve the American dream, but even go beyond and discover who you are. So good night and goodbye for now, and we'll see you later.